Thank you once again, Dr. Njenga, for being here with me. As you have known me, I'm Reverend Johnson Kĩriakũ wa Kĩnyua. When I heard that you were coming, I thought, what an opportunity. So I would want to welcome you to Radio Kenya United, and hopefully we can have a discussion on what you do and who you are. People know who you are, but it won't hurt if we can begin there to tell us a bit about who Frank Njenga, who is Dr. Frank Njenga, if you don't mind.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for welcoming me, not only to Radio Kenya United, but to Atlanta and to the United States. I don't travel as much as I used to when I was a younger man, but I'm happy to be in the United States. I'll be here for about 2 weeks in this trip.
Okay.
And I have to say, I am surprised and impressed and happy at the number of Kenyans that have now made the United States home. There are some people who complain, why there are so many people in Diaspora, why can't people stay at home, what is wrong with Kenya? Let me tell you, it's a very important point. Migration out of where you are born is as old as humankind. And you can't stop human beings traveling from where they were born to go to explore. So whether you are exploring on foot or on a bicycle or on a boat or in an aeroplane, to go and settle in new lands looking for new opportunities, that is what defines you as a human being.
That's right.
It's a human instinct. And I don't hear anybody implying that there is anything unnatural or unacceptable about moving from Kenya to leave the United States or Australia or the UK. That's what human beings have done from the beginning of time. And I want to say that for me now as an old man, as a mental health specialist, I applaud those people who have the courage and the opportunities to travel and live, I hope, happily and comfortably in other parts of the world. After all, the Chinese traveled from China in the 1400s. The Muzungus came from England in 1898.
Yeah.
And they still live there, for goodness sake.
Yes.
So let's not pretend that we are not as good as we are, just the same human beings.
Or even guilt ourselves.
No guilt about it. Vasco da Gama came to Kenya. Who told him to come? You are the Vasco da Gamas of today. Don't worry about it. Leave those ones alone.
Okay.
But about myself, as you say, my name is Frank Njenga. I graduated as a psychiatrist. Well, first of all, as a doctor.
Yeah.
From the University of Nairobi in 1975.
Okay.
It's actually exactly 50 years today.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I've been a doctor for 50 years now.
Golden Jubilee.
Absolutely. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
I then, after working for a little bit, I went to London. Okay. In those days, America was too far. Very few people came. In fact, I had a scholarship to come to Michigan State University.
Okay.
And my mother said, no, that's too far. Can't go there. If you go, whatever. So I went to UK instead.
Okay.
I graduated as a psychiatrist in 1980.
Okay.
That's 45 years ago.
Wow.
So I've been a psychiatrist for a little while.
A little while. So you did 5 years first as a doctor, as a medic.
Yeah.
And then
I trained as
a psychiatrist. Yeah.
And I made the strategic decision, which I don't regret.
Okay.
To go back.
Okay.
And work at home.
Yeah.
Does that make me a good man? No. Does it make me a bad person?
No.
Just make me a different person.
Yes.
From those who have decided to work there.
Yeah.
And that's where I've lived. I mean, I taught at the University of Nairobi for a while.
Okay.
It didn't work well for me because that was during the Moi era. And meritocracy, to me at the time, did not occupy the position I felt it should.
Okay.
And what I felt was political interference and everything. And I decided, no,
Yeah.
I'll go and venture out into the world on my own.
Okay.
So I've been in private practice now, doing my own things for 40 years, thereabouts. Yeah. That's when I set up, some years later,
Okay.
the Chiromo Hospital Group.
Okay.
The Chiromo Hospital Group is the largest private psychiatric group in the whole of East and Central Africa.
Okay.
We have units, 4 units in Nairobi, 1 in Mombasa. We have in excess of 60 psychiatrists who work. 60 psychiatrists who work with our ecosystem.
Have you trained them, or they come trained and you hire them?
We train them. We train some of them ourselves.
Okay.
Some are older people who have been trained elsewhere.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, I don't know. Psychologists, we have a similar number.
Okay.
Nurses, almost 100.
Yeah.
It's a big group.
Oh, wow.
It's a very big group.
So what specifically do you do at the Chiromo Group Hospital?
Chiromo
Is it Group Hospital? It's a Chiromo Hospital Group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chiromo Hospital Group.
Yeah.
We do a mixed bag of things.
Okay.
One of the biggest things that we do is outpatient work. We are almost a tertiary referral center,
Okay.
meaning that if you receive treatment in this place, that place, the other place, na maumivu yamezidi,
Mezidi.
yeah, and you're not sure, a lot of our work
Yeah.
is tertiary work.
Okay.
But you also see primary outpatient work, meaning people has Googled,
Yeah.
they have found they have signs of depression or anxiety or PTSD or ADHD, whatever it is. Yeah. They call, they book for an appointment,
Okay.
and then they come and we sort them out.
Yeah.
And we do that in person,
Okay.
but we also do it online.
Online. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Meaning that we have active patients
Okay.
in the United States, in Australia, in the UK, in Somalia, even Tanzania, everywhere.
And is that post-COVID or even before COVID?
Good question.
Yeah.
It is because of COVID.
Oh, because of COVID.
Yeah, because it's very interesting.
Yeah.
COVID, everybody says COVID was a bad thing, and it was because it killed many people.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
But COVID actually was a turning point in the practice of mental health in Kenya.
Okay.
In 2 different ways.
Yes.
The first one is that it normalized the conversation about and around mental health.
Okay.
Meaning, now, if you tell people I'm suffering from anxiety, is it because of COVID? You say, yeah, it's COVID. Or you say, oh, my brother is drinking too much these days.
Yeah.
You have to take him to a psychiatrist. Did he start drinking heavily because of COVID? Or he's having problems with his wife. Is that because they were too close together during COVID? Look, it's funny because COVID, in that ironical way, normalized mental health conversation.
Yes.
The other way, which is fascinating, is what I'm saying. Because you couldn't be, I'm over 70.
Yeah.
And the Royal College of Psychiatrists, to which I belong, issued an advisory saying...
And before you go there, so what is Royal College?
The Royal College of Psychiatrists, I can call it a club.
A club, okay.
Which is you are admitted after you have passed certain exams.
Okay.
And it's recognized by the British government.
Oh, I see.
That's how you get recognized as a psychiatrist.
So it's an international...
Okay. It's a big deal.
Okay.
Oh, it's a very big...
Yeah. So during COVID, they issued an
advisory for people of the age of 70 not to go to the wards.
Okay.
Because they often closed spaces, infections and so on.
Yeah.
So I couldn't go to work.
Okay.
So I talked to the regulatory authorities and they said, no. We can organize for you to see all your patients online.
Oh, okay.
So I started seeing my inpatient online.
Okay.
I started seeing outpatients online.
Okay.
When COVID went, I said, for goodness sake, why can't we continue with the same?
Yeah.
So we continued with online care.
Yeah.
And that helped us because from being an office-based practice, hospital-based practice, we are now a true community hospital. And our community is now everybody from Mombasa, Kisumu, Mandera, Migori, Kapenguria, Uganda, Tanzania, Congo, and the rest of the world. So we are a truly global community.
Would you say that you were prepared for COVID, even though you didn't know it was coming, that you were able to, was it the transition easy?
Let me put it this way.
Yeah.
I was not prepared
Okay.
for COVID,
Okay.
but we were prepared for an emergency.
Okay.
And I tell you what prepared us, interestingly, to respond to emergencies,
Okay.
which itself was a tragedy,
Okay.
but with a silver lining.
Yeah.
It was the bombing at the American Embassy in Nairobi on 7th August, 1998.
Yeah.
I just happened to be there.
Yeah.
I was the chairman of the Nairobi Hospital Group.
Okay.
And again, I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember. It was just 2 years before we came to the U.S.
Exactly. So I was at the Nairobi Hospital at the moment the bomb exploded.
Okay.
And I was at the emergency department when the first patients arrived.
Okay. Wow.
And I was at the forefront through the Kenya Medical Association in a response that was called Operation Recovery,
Okay.
which received global attention. That's
Yeah.
true to say.
Yeah.
So it was through that tragedy that I saw how emergencies evolve. And emergencies, funny enough, whether it's a major earthquake or a fire or even a tsunami, to which I also responded.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember going to Southeast Asia to respond to the tsunami.
Oh, wow.
Yes, because by that time I had become a global expert.
Okay. All right.
Purely by accident.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So there are still things that happen in an emergency of that nature that are very, very consistent. First is the horror.
Yeah.
And the fear. The shock of it.
Yeah.
Yes. And the disbelief that comes around it. Secondly, comes something called the honeymoon phase.
Okay. Which is?
The honeymoon phase is where everybody's coming, oh, polems there, oh, here's $1 million, oh, here's some blankets,
Yeah.
oh, here, that's a honey.
Yes. Yes.
So, soon after that, comes the phase where nobody cares.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Another emergency has happened somewhere else. It's time now to go to Palestine or to go to... And they look away from you.
Yeah.
So this
Now you're on your own.
you're completely on your own.
Okay.
The world has a very short attention span. This is one of the things that we learn.
Okay.
So and that's exactly what happened with COVID.
Okay.
By the time, within 2 or 3 months
Okay.
of the
Of the bomb blast. Yeah.
you're left alone. Everybody's looking for another. In fact, there's a group of people, and I will stop talking about this, called disaster tourists.
Okay.
Disaster tourists are people who pack their bags whenever there is a tsunami.
There's a
earthquake. Yeah? And they come, their cameras, they are reporters, they're taking pictures of you,
Yeah.
waiting for the next one.
For the next event.
In the moment the next one happened,
They forget that there was
pack
this
their
one.
bags and move on to the next one. So anyway, 98 was the true turning point of mental health practices in Kenya.
Okay.
Because we were able to put in place radio programs, programs, newspaper programs, that for the first time to the mass public, we talked about stress, depression, anxiety, mental health, counseling.
Okay.
We trained a whole lot of... So if you look at any disaster and you're looking for the silver lining, it's always there.
Always.
And for me, 98 and COVID had a very definite silver lining.
So this kind of laid the groundwork for the medical professionals, and in terms of how you respond to crises, and also some things that possibly were not there before, but now with the bomb blast, it did allow you to navigate those paths now with more intent.
Something else very interesting had happened.
Yeah.
In 2019, 1st of June, the then President Uhuru Kenyatta in Narok had declared that mental health was a serious epidemic in Kenya.
Okay. Is this after your report?
No.
Okay.
Before.
Okay.
So he directed his own government, I don't know how you can do that, to look into the matter immediately.
Okay.
Few months later, I was called by the government and they say, "Wewe ndio mzee wa hiyo kazi. Tell us what we're going to do about this maneno."
Yeah.
So what happened was I was appointed to chair the mental health task force
Okay.
appointed by the president.
Okay.
So we kind of haggled a little bit about it.
Yeah.
And one thing that you must give government credit for,
Okay. That is Kenyatta's government.
yes, Kenyatta's government, is the fact that they said, okay, you are the chairman.
Yeah.
You select the boys and girls that you want to help you.
Okay.
So I had the leeway to bring
To bring whoever you
Brilliant.
the best minds that
brilliant minds.
Yeah.
Within 86 days,
Oh wow.
we had finished the report.
Okay.
We finished. Then COVID came.
Okay.
So we couldn't hand it over. Yeah, we couldn't hand it over. So COVID came, so the report was ready, everything written and done in 6 days.
Yeah.
So we didn't hand it over to the then minister, Mutahi Kagwe,
Okay.
until Sabasaba Day.
Yeah.
During COVID.
COVID. Yeah.
Government had read it, Kabisa had understood it.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I'm done, I finished.
Okay.
I've given you the report.
Yeah.
You asked for it. Yeah.
Implemented now.
Oh, off I go.
Yeah.
The president says, what? Who do you think is going to implement this? I said, okay, good point. That's how I got appointed as presidential advisor.
Oh, okay. On the matter.
Yeah, because my appointment was specifically to advise on how to implement
The doc
what this task force
had come up.
had come.
And you were the chair of that task.
I was the chair of the task force
Wow.
and became presidential advisor.
I think that was a brilliant move.
It was a brilliant move on the part of the president.
Yeah.
Because now I had direct access to the highest office in the land.
Yeah.
I had written list reports. I knew exactly what it said.
And you had the resources.
And I had the resources.
Oh, wow.
What else do you ask for? So by the time this COVID was getting very, very serious,
Yeah.
I had 100% support from government.
Oh, wow.
To implement
Okay.
what government had already studied
Yeah.
before COVID.
Before COVID.
So, I mean, serendipity
Yeah.
is what it is.
That is exactly what.
We were 100% ready.
So what was the crisis in Narok that made the president
Oh, yeah.
make this declaration
very
stick
good.
you out?
Actually, I can't quote him exactly.
Yeah.
What President Kenyatta was saying
Yeah.
is that this maneno of men beating up women, killing women, femicide,
Yeah.
people drinking too much,
Yeah.
this is too much.
Yeah.
And in the official written speech,
Oh, wow.
not when President come and speak
Yeah.
off the cuff.
No. This was prepared
This was a
and it was very intentional for him.
It was very intentional because women were being beaten up,
Yeah.
you are being injured,
Yeah.
you are being killed.
Yeah.
And he said, what we will have now
Yeah.
is a whole government attempt to understand
Yeah.
this beast
Yeah.
called mental health.
Mental health.
Yes.
So what I'm hearing from you is that the genesis of this, at least it has always been there. Mental health has always been an issue, but the bomb blasts and these other societal crises led now to a more concerted effort.
Society was ready. Government was ready. The specialists were ready.
Yeah.
And that serendipitous position is what made Kenya's response unique.
Yeah. Yeah. When you say, well, I understand the government was ready, I understand the professionals were ready, but what do you mean by the society was ready for it?
When we went, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
When we went now to find out what is the problem of these mental health conditions, why are men beating their wives, why are children burning schools, why are men drunk all the time, why is mental health not all? We went to people that color like yourself.
Okay.
Yes?
Okay.
And they were asking a simple question. Where have you people always been?
Okay.
We have always known our people are suffering for lack of knowledge.
All right.
Why haven't you been to us? Develop a curriculum for us, tafadhalini.
Wow.
Not just the Christians.
Yeah.
We had sessions with Muslims.
Okay.
We had sessions with Hindus.
Okay.
Their request was the same.
Is it like we're collecting opinion from people? Like
Travel from
was a public commission?
Yes.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Mombasa to Kisumu, Kapenguria, and everywhere in between.
Wow.
Oh yeah, we traveled the whole country.
Yeah.
Yes. And you know, the people, the spiritual leaders
Yes.
were the loudest.
Yeah.
Give us a curriculum.
Yeah.
The Muslims were saying, the Imams were saying, sometimes you are asked to give talasa
Yeah.
between a man and his wife.
Yeah.
Divorce.
Yeah.
And we can see this woman is sick.
Yeah.
And the correct thing is take her to doctor.
A doctor, yeah.
But we have no framework
Yeah, to do that.
to do that.
Okay.
Teach us how to treat a situation that somebody that's talata.
Okay.
The Christians were saying, we know there is an idea of demon possession, spiritual things, but you also know there is depression, there is suicide. Teach us how to tell the difference.
Okay.
The teachers were dramatic.
Okay.
The teacher said, we know some very clever boys, some very clever girl who keep failing exams.
Okay.
How can we tell the one who's lazy from the one who was not ready?
Okay.
So everywhere we went, but with broadcasting, the media were right at the front.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Teach us how to report about suicide.
Yeah.
People don't commit suicide.
Okay.
No. People commit adultery.
Okay.
People commit crimes.
Okay.
People die by suicide.
They don't commit suicide.
They might commit adultery,
but they die.
They die by suicide.
Wow, that's profound for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the media are the ones who say, give us language that you transmit our messages to, around. We give another example. When schools burn in Kenya, or wherever, there's something called the copycat phenomenon.
Which is?
Copycat phenomenon is when this school was burnt down,
Okay.
the next door school, the boys and the girls said, if they can do it, we
can do it too.
So the media, we were asking, what is the best way of reporting school fires?
Okay. So that there is no, this copycat is...
phenomenon.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
It also happened in instances of murder.
Okay.
You find that if you report in detail, or suicide for that matter, if you report in too much detail of how somebody died by suicide, you're becoming complicit in giving people ideas on how. So that's when I said whole community was ready.
Yeah.
Church was ready, the Muslims were ready, the Hindus were ready, the teachers were ready, the police were ready, the press was ready. What are they doing?
Yeah. Now I fully understand. I fully understand. Now, if you go back from the journey that you talked about 50 years ago and to the point where you felt like all things were falling in place, how was that journey? How does that journey look like to you before this coming together of minds and the gap in between from your younger days as
That's what we call the dark ages of African psychiatry.
Okay.
The dark ages.
The dark ages.
The dark ages. I was actually part of a group of young men.
Okay.
That was sent out to another kingdom.
Okay.
By the Jomo Kenyatta government, 1977.
Okay.
How the government knew that mental health was a big thing, well, I don't know.
Okay.
That they asked for and they were given scholarships by the British government.
Okay.
So I was educated completely free of charge.
Okay.
But life is so fun. So Jomo Kenyatta's government educated me.
Okay.
So that I could help Uhuru
implement, I know it is. Yeah. It's an irony of history, right?
Then I came back in 1980 for many reasons, including intra-Africa communication.
Okay.
And including the stigma.
Yeah.
Associated with mental health.
Mental health,
Yeah, and everything else.
Yeah.
Including the fact that mental health workers were very few at the time.
Yeah.
There was a time when, if I said I'm psychiatrist, they'll say, what is that? Well, it's open now. And then, so from 1980 to about 1990 was really completely update for us. To even doctors were shunning, our own colleagues are saying, well, I can't refer a patient to you because or refer a patient to you, but asema mimi nasema huyo ni wazimu.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yes. Our own police.
I can see why it was dark ages, yeah?
It was a real complete dark ages.
Yeah.
But as I say,
yeah.
After the bomb blast, and after we went on radio and the TV and the press media and everything else, and we trained counselors and psychologists.
Yeah.
Hey! I don't know what happened. Almost overnight, everybody wanted to be associated with us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They wanted to know what is psychiatry, what is psychology, what is counseling, what is stress, what is depression, how do you treat it. Open.
So would you say, beside the psychiatry department of the university, these are the sections of counseling and clinical psychology and so forth, are they latecomers in the game, or are they still there? In that journey?
They came in their own time.
In their own time, okay.
Own time in the sense that in every field, kuna mama na kuna baba na kuna watoto. In the field of mental health, Saba is a psychiatrist. So the psychiatrist came to trailblaze it.
Oh, okay.
Now the supporting cast, the playing psychologists, counselors, nurses, came naturally.
Okay.
Yeah. In hot pursuit.
Okay.
It's a bit like when you have three-legged stool. You can't remove one and expect it to stand. You can't have psychiatrists without psychologists. You can't have psychologists and psychiatrists. We have nurses. We are complementary.
You complement each other.
Who's bigger? They're not as bigger than the other. They're just different. It's a three-legged stool with three legs.
Wow. Now, because you have brought in the question of, well, basically, I think we have tackled the issue of the professionals in it, you being one, and that journey that you're talking about, and even the dark ages and then these moments. Would you say the community itself, I know you have hinted to it, would you say the community itself is prepared to have a real debate on mental health issues?
I can say this without fear of contradiction. Kenya is rich.
It's ready.
Oh my goodness. Let me tell you. Again, I have the confidence of one who's been there for 50 years. And who has watched the graph. There is the myth that Kenya is not ready for a conversation on mental health. Anytime I hear that, I can tell your age. You're an old man.
Okay.
We're an old woman. Talk to a 20-year-old, 25-year-old, and tell them the stigma about mental health.
They will wonder,
They wonder which planet are you coming to? Mental health is a big deal. It's perhaps the only big deal for people with 35. So let me tell you, tell your age. If you talk to me about stigma of mental health, a lot of our referrals now are Google-based. Yes, people Google, they say, I have the following symptom. Insomnia, tiredness, sadness, palpitations. What is the likely diagnosis? Burnout. The nearest mental health facility, Chiromo Hospital Group. Pick up a phone.
They'll call or show up.
60% of our referrals are from mothers. Are not from other doctors. Direct from Gen Z themselves.
Is it the same in the rural as it is in the city, or are there differences?
Yes. I can tell you this because unknown to you and unknown to many, even in Kenya inside, I think virtually all counties have psychiatrists now. Kiambu, by way of example, I think have nearly 10 psychiatrists.
Oh, wow.
Yes, alone. Nyeri are 6 or 7. In places like Karatina. I don't know if you've heard of Karatina.
I know. You get a psychiatrist, yes. Oh, wow.
Yes. So this, there are several in Machakos, Kitui. In Kisumu, there are many, Kakamega. Kisii. Mombasa, countless.
Oh, wow. Now, I'm glad that you mentioned, because sometimes we tend to assume that people don't know, or there's a lot of ignorance, on the ground. But it's good to hear from you that actually Kenya is ready to have these discussions. Let me ask you then, what would you say are the main mental health issues in Kenya, and if you may, diaspora?
Let's start with Kenya. And then we'll come to the diaspora. There's something called the CMDs, common mental disorders. They're same all over the world. Common mental disorders are things like depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorders, OCD, and then there are the more serious psychotic illnesses like schizophrenia, like bipolar mood disorder.
Okay.
But increasingly now in our practice, we are seeing, particularly among young people, complications of substance use disorders.
Okay.
Many of them associated with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD.
Okay.
When I trained, and I'm so ashamed of myself, and what I also thought was that ADHD is a disease of children, and that ADHD disappears after the age of 13 or 14. I was taught that. I taught my students that.
So that is book knowledge.
Book knowledge.
Uh-huh.
It is so untrue.
Is that so?
ADHD is a lifelong problem.
Okay.
It's a problem that exists throughout the life of an individual. The problem is that at 13, instead of having a child who's running around all over the place, when he is 15, he's fighting other boys. And
oh, wow.
It's the same condition.
It's the same condition, only now expressed physically.
He's fighting with other kids, playing truant. When he goes into his 20s, Vinyo start beating his wife. A coffee like that.
Okay.
When he's older, just restlessness. He's there. He's out of the place, changing jobs, changing wives, changing sexual partners.
It is the same. You're saying it's the same condition,
But as you get older,
it takes different forms of expression.
But it's exactly the same condition.
The same condition.
So viewers, please forgive me for having taught badly. That is as much as I do.
Well, science grows, and it grows out of research and all new things that come up with. Just like, even in biblical studies, we study some things that today you would be like, whoa, how did I even teach that? Yeah. So how about diaspora? That is
diaspora. There are two components of the diaspora.
Okay.
But maybe see. The first one is that as long as they're a human being, anywhere in the world, these common mental disorders we catch depression, anxiety, generalized anxiety disorders, OCDs, post-traumatic stress disorders, and be them ADD, whatever you are. So that's the first component.
Okay.
The second component is about the psychosis. Bipolar mood disorder is very, very serious.
Okay.
Partly because it's one of the easiest conditions to treat. But when somebody is completely manic, the police will come, they pick you up, lock you up, because they're what they will say, you're violent.
Yeah, you're violent,
On the other side, when you're very, very depressed, this is what causes people to die by suicide.
Okay.
All right, remember what I said about dying by suicide?
Yeah.
So the risks are either you end up with the criminal justice system or with the funeral service. Yes, because you have not managed a very easy condition.
Would you add onto that something like femicide as part of that journey of somebody who has been unable to, either you did not kill yourself, you did not go to jail, but you harmed other people?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So suicide is turning aggression towards yourself internally.
Okay.
Femicide is externalizing exactly the same distress.
Okay.
Exactly.
But it doesn't bring healing. So what happens to the one who commits this outside of himself or herself?
Two things are possible.
Okay.
Regret and sadness.
Okay.
So the full circle, they end themselves.
Okay.
Or it reveals itself. Substance use disorder. Abuse, alcohol, heroin, cocaine, and other things.
And for the interest of those who will be listening, sometimes we may know that those things are there, and sometimes you don't know what they are. But before we get to the element of how do I know, what are the main causes of these things, either in motherland or in the diaspora? Because you have walked that journey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mental disorders in general and must remember that every mental disorder is distinct in its definition, in its symptomatology, and causation.
Okay.
But generally speaking, you can think of the causes of mental disorders along the following general lines. The first one is biology.
Okay.
What did you inherit from your mother and your father?
Okay.
What genes have in yourself?
Okay.
What do they make you likely to suffer from?
Okay.
Is it schizophrenia? Is it depression? Is it whatever?
Okay. So that is hereditary?
Yes.
Something that can be inherited?
That's biology.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
The second one, think of it as the environment.
Okay.
The environment starts with the womb of your mother.
Yeah.
Did your mother drink from there? Did your mother smoke or take heroin?
Okay.
When you were being born, was it a traumatic birth?
Okay.
Was it this birth? Was there prolonged labor? After you were born, did you have enough breast milk? Did you have enough food? Okay. Environment, did you suffer trauma to your head?
Yeah.
Did you get all your immunizations?
Okay.
And then there are emotional things.
Okay.
Were you the subject of emotional neglect by your father, by your mother? Just the emotional environment in which you grew up.
Yeah.
And then there's a psychological environment.
Okay.
You feel loved, you feel wanted. Yeah. So if anybody tells you there's one cause of mental disorders, they're quite right to ignore that.
To ignore them.
But they don't know that.
You don't know what they're talking about. So would you consider, like for those of us who are in the diaspora, would you consider microaggression and racism as things that can lead to those, mental instability or disorder?
When I would answer that question, yes.
Okay.
Today I will answer it for yes. And that is a fact that is supported by science.
Okay.
There are lots of studies from the United States, from the United Kingdom, and from Germany.
Okay.
That the hostile environment that people in the diaspora find themselves, that because of microaggression, poor housing, unsettled status, harassment, isolation, all those factors, science has told us, predispose members of the diaspora, in higher rates than the home communities. The extent to which you feel settled and accepted and assimilated, the language difficulties, the ethnic density that you find yourself in. If you find yourself in the middle America, where the only a person to speak your language, they're hundreds of miles away, as opposed to being in Seattle or Atlanta, where you can even get ready.
I know.
And so ethnic density is a new concept. Relatively new
concept,
that tells us that it's probably easy for a Kenyan to settle in Atlanta and in Seattle, South New Jersey, or Dallas, than it is in some remote little place. In New Hampshire.
So there's an element, I don't know if this is leading, but in some way we all struggle with it in the United States. The issue of family. And this is where maybe most of the women who came as married couples, some, not most, but there's some who probably didn't have very stable jobs, or they never had jobs. They were trained, but they never got jobs. But they come here, they get stable jobs, and that overturns the whole equation of how do we run our family. Have you come across people who are struggling because of that?
Every single day, change in family dynamic. You see, at the point of migration, there are several things that we as members, experts, think about. There is a pre-migration issues. Migration issues. Post-migration issues. If you think, for example, about pre-migration issues, why did you want to go to America in the first place? Was it that you were persecuted by Moi? Was it that you went for education? Is it that you are looking for better opportunities for your financial
well-being, yeah.
why are you looking for the promised land?
Okay.
That's one.
Okay.
Migration factors themselves are to do with how did you come? Did you have to go to Zimbabwe first to find yourself through South Africa or United States?
Okay.
Or did you come through Doha or want? Yes?
Yeah.
Why are you running away
Okay.
from a threat
Yeah.
from Kenya?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I remember all those things. Yeah. Mhm.
Those things.
Yeah.
And what were your circumstances of leaving
The country, yeah.
those who were running away from political persecution
Yeah.
are different from young men and women
Yeah.
to getting an aeroplane in Nairobi
Yeah.
to study.
To study.
So the circumstances of your migration.
Okay.
Did you have money? Did you have $100 to your name?
Okay.
Do you have a full scholarship for or whatever?
Yeah.
So the migration factors are very important.
Okay.
And then thirdly, this is crucial,
Okay.
are the post-migration factors.
Okay.
When you land in Atlanta, what should you find?
Okay.
Do you find a church community that welcomes you with a pastor?
Yeah.
Do you come and find your brothers and sisters and your cousins?
Yeah.
Hold a big party?
Yeah.
To introduce you?
Yeah.
Do you get a job?
Okay.
Are you in status?
Okay.
Are you to speak the language?
Okay.
So depending on all those factors, then another dynamic arises. You come with your wife. Okay. Come with the children.
Okay.
You have a job. You have a job.
Yeah.
The total dynamic around that acted by migration is a big problem.
Okay.
Because if, for example, you land, then you have a wife and a son, maybe two.
Yeah.
And she gets a job.
Yes.
And you become the house husband.
Well, it has happened to many of us.
It has happened to me.
Yeah.
And it's real.
Yes.
Now, you want your wife after an 18-hour day to come and cook a dairy for you.
I know.
And she said, Baba,
I'm just tired.
You bathe the children.
Yeah.
Since when did a man bathe children?
Absolutely.
And he says, since you go to Atlanta. So it's not the woman's fault, man's fault.
Yeah.
It is the dynamic around post-migration.
Post-migration.
Yeah.
Now, this last part of it before we come to now, what do we do once we, how do we know that we have this? Our kids, there's some who come from Kenya, straight to the United States with their parents, and there are those who were born here, but they're born into a family that speaks Swahili, their ethnic language, and now the American English. Would that have any effect or impact to the dynamics, family dynamics, the language part of it, where you have a mother who thinks in Kikuyu but speaks in English, and a son who is natively thinking in English and speaking in English, even?
It's a big challenge.
Yeah.
That's a general problem.
Okay.
By their very nature, children are very, very flexible.
Okay.
It's not like adults.
Yes.
And children can switch.
Yeah.
Can switch from speaking like an American when they're in school, come home and speak like their grandmother, and switch to something else when they're talking to their friend.
Well, I have to stop you because sometimes I hear my son and my daughter, they switch to how we talk, and you hear them, and then they'll make this laughter, they laugh at you, and then they switch back to,
But they have to do a three-way switch.
Yeah.
They have they are not just the language as language, but even the mannerisms.
Okay.
School.
Yeah.
Then they have the language and mannerisms of play.
Play.
With their peers.
Yes.
Yes? Which could be different.
Yes.
Depending who their playmates are.
Okay.
And then there's the one of mom and dad. Sure.
Okay.
I cannot speak to where they're and they love it.
I know.
Yeah, love it. But they're completely flexible.
Okay. Okay. Now, Daktari, in the interest of time, we have come a long journey looking at all that journey about mental health. Now, most of us are not trained to understand these things. And sometimes we may be suffering, yet we don't know. How do we get to a point where now I know I need help?
Okay, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
There is a lot of information out there.
Okay.
From Google, from specialists such as myself.
Okay.
But you cannot benefit from information unless you know that mental health issues are health issues. So this conversation we have held here today will cause people to say, yeah, kumbe there is a kamze who speaks about mental health.
Yeah.
Able, let me check on Google.
Yeah.
So everything that you do, I do about mental health by way of conversation like this. I can tell you for sure. This conversation we've held here today will get one person to sit down. With your permission, I'll say two other things.
Okay.
And I will pick something from here.
Okay.
Which I want to show your viewers.
Yeah.
The first one is what we call a self-assessment tool.
Okay.
A self-assessment tool. I don't know if you can focus on this.
Yes.
That QR code then.
Let's do it right. Oh, sorry. I think you have the better one to do it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that QR code.
Yeah, right there.
That QR code there will take you to a self-assessment tools that will tell you whether you have depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, burnout, whatever.
Okay.
But more importantly, it will take you to a site where you can get help.
Okay.
The fact that the help is in Kenya is not a problem because you can get an appointment.
Yes.
An online. You can get an online appointment.
Yes.
At the Chiromo Hospital. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a QR code.
That's the QR code right there.
Okay.
Okay.
And you can. So, for the first time, there are self-help tools.
Okay.
Or just go to the Chiromo Hospital group website.
Yeah.
This QR code is here.
Okay.
And you will get that help.
Yeah.
You know, just like you can check on your temperature, you're not feeling well.
Okay.
Or you can, in your own house, check on your blood sugar or your blood pressure.
Okay.
This
QR code will. Now, is it possible, now if I bring it closer right there, so is this something that is available online?
It's available online.
Okay. Or where would people go for it?
Anybody who's got a phone now, go to Chiromo Hospital Group.
Okay.
Chiromo Hospital Group.
Okay.
All these things are there.
So, what you're suggesting is that through this QR code right here, you will be able to self-assess and begin to understand yourself.
Yes.
And if the need be, you can get help and you have the information.
Yes.
And you did say that you are not just physically meeting with people, but you're also meeting with people from all over the world.
Absolutely.
From all over the world.
We do consultation all over the world.
All over the world. Yeah.
To Seattle.
Okay.
Everywhere in between.
Okay. Yeah. Now, let's briefly talk about the male child.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's talk about the male child. But before we talk about the male child, I'd like to speak about his father first.
Okay.
Because I don't know how many people here understand Gikuyu. There's a saying in Gikuyu, Dimayu magabutuine.
Okay.
Ugali inatoka kwenye unga.
Kwenye unga, yeah.
Huyu mtoto anatoka pa mifupa ya baba yake.
Yeah.
I am telling you, where we really lost it is with the male adult.
Okay.
I'll give you a few facts. A man who is a man is not allowed to look for help.
Okay.
Imagine a 70-year-old man like whatever going to a doctor and say, I'm depressed.
I know, it's really funny. Yeah. It would look funny. I know.
Well, his wife institutionally is encouraged to go and cry to a pastor, to a doctor, even a young doctor, and say, Nima, I cannot sleep at night. My grandchild I don't know what is happening.
Yeah.
The grandfather can't do that.
Yeah.
So the way we have socialized
The male.
the consequence of that is that men die by suicide.
Okay.
When you hear of suicide was taking place,
Yeah.
4 out of 5 times, 80% of the time,
Yeah.
is a man. 75% is a man.
Wow.
So suicide actually is a male thing.
Wow.
When you care about violence, crimes against human beings,
Yeah.
the majority of them are men.
Male.
When you care about alcoholism, majority are about men.
Yeah.
Men's mental health conditions are externalized,
Oh, wow.
are external to themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it because they draw inward and they don't want to, because of that cultural socialization?
Not allowed to socially do that.
Okay.
Yes.
So we bottle it up and then it is expressed in other ways.
It's expressed another way.
Okay.
So by the time you now come to a marriage track,
Yeah.
mommy is telling donor,
Yeah.
be a tough guy.
Be a tough guy. Yeah.
You can't be a sissy.
Yeah.
Can't be like your sister.
Yeah.
The poor guy is hurting.
Yeah.
He's hurting badly. And mommy and daddy are saying to him,
Yeah. You cannot.
you're
a man. Yeah. You're a boy. Yeah.
no wonder they kill themselves. No wonder they go to alcohol.
Yeah.
Socialize. What?
Yeah.
And the meantime, the girls are being told, mommy, it's okay to cry.
Okay.
Mommy, it's okay to go and look for help.
Yeah.
Mommy, I'll take you to the doctor.
Yeah.
By the same ferry.
Yeah. All right. Now, I know you've talked about clergy, and it's good that you've talked about the male child. There's more to it that I would want us to go, but again, in the interest of time, we'll keep it short. But for the clergy now, and I know you have had such great presentation to us here in Atlanta. What do you see as the future of the clergy and mental health?
Oh, it's very bright.
Okay.
People have called me a romantic optimist.
Okay.
I accept that title without apology.
Okay.
The future, the people in the diaspora, the future for people in Kenya, the future for humanity is yet.
Okay.
Yeah? Am I qualified to say yes? I turned 75 at the end of this year.
Okay.
So, if I can't look into the future, who can? Yeah?
You're the best place, a
good place to claim.
Absolutely.
A little bit of it.
Yeah.
So having said that, arising from all the things that you talked about, on the task force, the presidential advisor. Oh, don't be believe forgot.
Okay.
Something else I'd like to show you, if you don't mind, because it might help you to understand what qualifies me.
Okay.
It's my autobiography.
Okay.
This is the story of my life.
Okay. And maybe I can hold it close.
This is your copy.
Oh, this is my copy. Oh, thank you.
This is your copy.
Oh, thank you. I was going to find it on Amazon right there. The City Boy. City Boy. Do you know, before you go on, this morning when I was sharing with the group, the Might Banner, I said we had a talk and it was a great talk. Then Dr. Nyambura says that I'm just about to start reading The City Boy.
This is your copy.
I didn't know. Now I'm going to brag to her.
Tell her.
I got my own copy. Oh, you will sign it. So
this is
City Boy right there.
Available on Amazon.
Okay.
And it's a summary of what we are talking about.
Okay.
It's a summary of my life.
Okay.
Not just that I was born in whatever and I grew up in this one and I hate watching on.
Yeah.
It's about the evolution of mental health and mental health practices.
Yes.
As I have seen them with my eyes in my lifetime.
Wow.
So through the book,
The
City Boy, and through my experience now, spending many decades, I can tell you the life of the clergy, having done all the things that we have done, is good.
Okay.
The future is bright because they are the ones who are demanding us to help them and to interpret.
Wow.
No, don't worry about the future. At all. It is in safe hands.
Wow. Why City Boy?
I grew up in Nairobi City.
Okay.
all my life.
Okay.
I went to school in Nairobi. I went to university in Nairobi. I live in Nairobi. I am a second generation city boy because my parents
Yeah.
lived all their life in Nairobi.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, if you want me to tell you a little bit about the story.
Yeah. Absolutely. We would want to hear the story a little bit. Yeah.
I don't have a story
Yeah.
about, I was born in the south of Moranga, near a river where we fetched water from I don't know what. Our school was far from what. My story is not like that. Yeah. My story, and actually it's a funny story, because I lived all my life in the city.
Okay.
My school was there.
Okay.
And I 2 minutes from home.
Uh-huh.
Our house had water in the taps. My mother dropped me at school.
Oh, wow.
You see, just to give context.
Yes.
Independence for Kenya came in 1963.
Okay.
In 1964
Yeah.
is the year I entered high school.
Okay.
Jomo Kenyatta's government said, clever boys must go and study with Europeans so they can defeat the Europeans in class. Okay. So I went to the Delaware school. I was shocked to find that within a year or two, I spoke English better than the English.
Wow.
I was better at them in mathematics. I knew their history even better. I became their head boy.
Oh, wow.
So so I've always thought, no, I can't write that story. People think it's a horrible story. Yeah. I should say that I suffered with the goats and plows. I took carry sugar.
And you went to the forest? You. That is the story for somebody else.
Yeah, so not an apology.
No,
but it's a story.
Oh, great, and I thank you so much. I will enjoy. I'm an avid reader, and this is one book that I'm going to enjoy. Now, as we come to wrap it up, a long time ago when I was doing research, I met a small booklet that was written by a psychiatrist called Carothers, or something Carothers.
Yes.
And
it's here in this book.
It is so unsettled me.
No, it's here.
It is here.
Discuss Carothers, but ask the question.
Okay, so I was just wondering whether the theoretical things that came out of that, whatever, whether it was research or so, and he was saying this is the good way of either trying to pacify the African people. Was it right? And has it had its impact on our society? And we have the remnants of the thoughts that he was trying to implant.
Okay. Very, very quickly.
Yes.
This is a very big story.
Yes.
Here.
Oh, I'm glad that it is here. Yeah.
In great detail.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is a story for the Mau.
Yeah.
Now, when people came back from the Second World War, they had been to Burma, they had been to faraway places, and actually seen that a white man bathes, uses the toilet, and can't even die. Yeah. They came back and said, so how come this Mzungu is oppressing us like this? Yeah. Let's go and kill him and reclaim our land back. Mm-hmm. That, in a way, in a very summarized way, is the genesis of the Mau. Yeah. Now, what then happened is that the colonial government then said, no. Any African who wants us to leave his country, see that he goes back to those barbaric lands, he's sick. Okay. He's mad. Okay. Yes? Okay. So they brought in this guy called J.C. Carothers. Okay. So Carothers...
And was he a trained psychiatrist? You don't know? Yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
Oh, you know?
No.
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
We trained in the same school.
Oh, yeah?
Okay. The same hospital, the Maudsley Hospital.
Yeah.
I trained there for 3.5 years.
Okay.
He was there for 6 months.
Okay.
Different times.
Different times, yeah.
But he was a doctor.
Oh, he was a doctor, okay.
But then what he wrote, essentially, again in summarized form, is that any African who wants independence has a brain like a giant.
Wow.
That is, and I've got it here in this book. Yeah. Any freedom fighter, like Jomo Kenyatta or whatever else was arguing for freedom, is as good as a Mzungu without a brain. Yes. You know? So, J.C. Carothers was a doctor, and he was believed. So when Churchill and the governors were oppressing us, they were relying on the most readily available scientific evidence
to show
thing.
Yeah.
We now know that Carothers was completely wrong.
Yeah.
He completely misled the colonial authorities. But suppose that was the nature of the beast at the time. But that story is discussed in great detail.
So any impact in our modern day about the thought of possibly...
Don't take me there. Because a lot like the social ills that we find in cases.
Okay.
And very sadly, including the challenges around the fact that some people have had to escape Kenyan society is to be found in and about and around the Mau. Again, with your permission, let me hear play. You know, a Gikuyu man of the early 50s was a man.
A man.
Man with a wife, maybe 2, maybe 3.
Okay.
A man with land, with goats, with cows, but most important, with dignity.
Dignity. Yeah.
In 1964, something called villagization came. Villagization was to literally put people of central Kenya in villages which were nothing more than concentration camps. They were concentration camps. So what happened in concentration camp in villages is that the Gikuyu man with dignity and with wine, who had his own vingira, was put in a little round hut to sleep there with his wife, with his adolescent daughters, and adolescent son.
Wow.
Now, you tell me how difficult it is for a man to be in the same room with his adolescent daughters.
Yeah.
Wow. A man who had a year earlier had the dignity
of a man.
God brought to him in his dingira by 2 or 3 wives.
Yeah.
For me, the beginnings of some of the current problems today in our country are to do with the social disruption of our society from 1950 to independence. That 13 years was so disruptive of social order. We have not yet recovered from it.
Wow.
That, again, is to be found in this book because I lived it. I grew up through that phase. I saw a little bit of Mau. I saw everything about independence, and I saw everything about post-independence. It's all in there.
Wow. I don't know what to say because this is so much and almost overwhelming, even the thoughts and the ideas. And to know that there's so much that we can discuss, that we can bring out and for people to understand further. But I'm so grateful that you even had the opportunity and the moment to come and talk to me. And also, gifting me with the City Boy. And I'm going to learn more about Carothers because I did come across him, and that is going to help us. So as we wind up, do you have a last word, Doctor?
Yes. I have 2 things I would like to say.
Yes.
The first and most obvious is to thank you.
Thank you.
And to thank you most sincerely for this invitation and the opportunity to spend a little bit of time with people of your television radio station.
Yes.
I don't take it for granted.
Thank you.
And I hope when the opportunity presents, I will be able to come back and share some of an old... It's an old man has no value to society other than discussing.
And that is wealth. That is wealth.
Nothing else I can do for the right other than to provoke thought.
So
that's the first thing.
Yes.
The second one is also an important message. Don't allow anybody to tell you that our country has no future.
Okay.
It's a complete lie.
Okay.
The future is very, very, very bright.
Okay.
And I know this because I have lived for more than 7 decades.
Yes.
And I have seen ups and downs.
Yes.
This is a very dark day. This is a very dark season. Through.
Yes.
But the truth is, the darkest hour is just before dawn.
Yes.
For me, the pain we are going through is temporary. Yeah? And as long as we remain in hope,
Yeah.
we will keep away depression,
Yeah.
we'll keep away desperation,
Yes.
and we will be ready
Yes.
for our God-given sunrise that will shine across the savannah
Yes.
to the detriment
Yes.
of anybody who tries to do us anyhow.
That is
It is right.
That is those are very powerful words from the city boy, and we all know he comes from the city in the sun. So, and he leaves us with that brightness of the sun. And I thank you so much, Daktari, and hopefully I'll come to and meet you at your Chiromo campus and have my own personal conversations. And I thank you once again, and God bless.
My great privilege.
Asante sana. Asante. God bless.